This happened in late 2023, when I was still living alone in a small house outside of town. The house had belonged to my grandmother, and after she passed, I moved in to save money while working remotely. At first, everything felt peaceful. Quiet neighborhood, lots of trees, no close neighbors. I used to think that was a good thing. But then I started noticing little things. At first, it was small. A cabinet in the kitchen left open in the morning. A glass I didn't remember using, sitting in the sink. I thought maybe I was just being forgetful. But one night, I left my phone charging in the living room. When I woke up, it was in the kitchen, plugged in, fully charged. I never charge it in the kitchen. I clearly remember plugging it in by the couch. That's when the anxiety started. A few nights later, I locked the front and back doors, double-checked every window, and went to bed like usual. I even placed a chair against my bedroom door, just in case. Sometime around 3 a.m., I woke up suddenly. There was no noise, but the air felt different, heavy. The chair I placed by the door had been moved. Not far, just slightly off-center. I stared at it in the dark for what felt like minutes, trying to convince myself I had moved it without remembering. The next morning, I bought a camera. One of those cheap motion-detecting ones you can set on a shelf. I hid it in the living room. That night, I barely slept. The house felt colder than usual. Every creak of the wood made my heart stop. In the morning, I opened the camera footage. At 2:46 a.m., there was movement. A man, tall, wearing dark clothes. He walked in through the back door. I'd locked that door. I was sure of it. He stood in the hallway, just staring into the living room for over 2 minutes. Then he walked out of frame, toward the kitchen. The footage ended. I didn't know what to do. I didn't call the police right away. I couldn't even move. I checked the back door again. The lock wasn't broken. That night, I set up 2 cameras. One in the kitchen, one in the hallway outside my bedroom. And I slept with a hammer under my pillow. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up to a noise. Not loud, just the sound of a door clicking shut. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I reached for my phone and opened the camera app. Both cameras had triggered. First, I saw the same man in the kitchen. He opened the fridge, took a drink, then walked calmly toward the hallway. The second camera showed him standing at my bedroom door, his hand on the handle, just standing there, for almost 5 full minutes. Then he turned and walked away. No rush, like he knew I was watching, and didn't care. I called the police right after. They arrived 20 minutes later. The man was gone. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, nothing. I moved out 2 days later. Didn't even pack everything. I still check cameras before going to sleep, even in my new apartment, but I haven't seen him again. Not yet. It was a Friday night. I just finished work, grabbed some fast food, and was ready to do nothing all weekend. I live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment, 2nd floor, quiet complex, nothing fancy. Around midnight, I was watching YouTube on the couch when I started falling asleep, half a burger still in my hand, TV still playing. Then the doorbell rang, 3 times. I jumped. Who the hell rings someone's doorbell at midnight? I looked through the peephole, but saw nothing. Just the empty hallway outside my door. I waited, stood there for about a minute. Then I turned around, and the doorbell rang again. 1 ring this time, still no one outside. But this time I noticed something. The hallway light, motion sensor, had turned off, which meant whoever was out there wasn't moving anymore. I opened the door. Stupid, I know. But I was half asleep and not thinking. A man was standing off to the side, just out of view, wearing a dark jacket, hood up, hands in his pockets. He smiled and said, "Sorry, man, wrong apartment." I didn't say anything, just nodded and closed the door. A minute later, I looked through the peephole again. He was still standing there, facing my door, no expression, just staring. I backed away, didn't know what to do, didn't want to call the cops just yet. Maybe it really was just a mistake. But then I heard it, the doorknob, turning. He was trying to open it, slowly, like he was being careful. I yelled out, "I've called the police." He stopped, And then he laughed. Not loud, just this creepy little chuckle. Then he walked away. I watched through the peephole until he turned the corner. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Filed a police report the next morning. They said they'd patrol the area more. But that was it. A few days later, I got home from work and saw something on my door. A sticky note. One word written in pencil. Soon. I moved out a week later, and I never opened the door at night anymore. Not even for pizza. In 2021, I rented a small house not far from my university. It was cheap, old, and just a bit run down, but it was all I could afford. The house had a basement. I never used it. The landlord told me it was just an old storage area, mostly empty, and to keep it locked. He even said, no reason to ever go down there, so I didn't. About 2 weeks in, I noticed something strange. Every few nights, I'd hear noises beneath the floor, faint thuds, sometimes scratching. At first, I thought it was rats. Old house, made sense. But then one night, I came home late after work. As I was putting down my bag, I noticed something that made me stop cold. The basement door was open, just a crack, but definitely not locked. I stared at it for a long time. I hadn't touched that door since I moved in, and I always made sure it was locked. I walked over, grabbed the handle, and slowly pushed it shut, then locked it. Twice. That night, I barely slept. The next day, I called the landlord. He insisted he hadn't been over, said the lock was old, and maybe it slipped. I didn't fully believe him. 2 nights later, I came home again and found the door wide open. Not cracked, fully open. I froze. My heart dropped. There were muddy footprints on the kitchen floor, leading from the basement door to the hallway and back. I called the police. They searched the basement. No one there. But they found signs someone had been there. An old sleeping bag. A used candle. Half-eaten food. Someone had been living in the basement, probably sneaking up at night when I was asleep or when I left for work. They never found out who it was. I moved out that same weekend, left almost everything behind, and now, anytime I tour a new place to live, I make sure it doesn't have a basement. If you enjoyed these true horror stories, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more creepy content, and let me know in the comments which story creeped you out the most. Thanks for watching, and remember, lock your doors.